And when I go to people who don't support immigration reform, I'm like, go look at your farms, go see who's milking cows, go, I mean, here's the wrinkle with, if I can just lay out kind of what I see happening and where the problems are for you, in the negotiation point. So first of all, you have to secure your border.
And we've spent billions doing that.
And is it secure?
Well, as I hear, there's way fewer people coming in now than there were 5 years ago, right?
So we might have disagreements. I remember this summer sitting watching my TV, and I saw a lot of people come across the border without any kind of stopping point at all.
And those were those children fleeing from.
True. So to say the border is secure, situation. I think when that happened, we were able to see, you want to come up, the border is actually quite porous.
But can I interrupt just a second about that? Because I've been to Mexico a few times, and I know people cannot get visas to come here without giving their whole financial, you know, we knew a doctor and his wife. He said, I'd love to see the Mississippi River. He couldn't come here unless he laid out how many banks did he have accounts in. You know, we fill out our visa on the way to Mexico on the airplane. They don't ask for anything. Is that fair?
Well, it might be if there's a history of people coming here and they don't go home. So I think the purpose behind the way we look at folks in the system is, do you have an incentive to go back home? Or if there's no incentive, are you going to overstay your visa that we give you lawfully? Because what most people don't talk about is 40% of people who are here without documentation, illegally, they came here legally and they overstayed their visas. So the people would make the claim that folks have all come across the southern border, not true at all. I had the Irish ambassador come to my office and say, we really want immigration reform done. No potato famine. They've come here lawfully and just stayed. So,
but if you go to Mexico and you, excuse me, but you talk to, everybody knows someone who's died trying to get here. So it is true that people, not everybody can get a visa. Those, especially the rural people, the farmers, they can't get a visa. So they're coming through the desert, paying as much as they can, risking their life, you know. So anyway, I know I'm talking too much. I asked you for your opinion, so.
So back to, we have to secure the border. And the reason behind border security is everyone applauds Ronald Reagan in the 80s and, you know, every president to do, you know, something on immigration since then. It's never worked. In the sense of, if you don't secure the border, with a couple of things I'm going to talk about after that, you're just going to have this problem every 15 years. Every 20 years, we're going to come through and go, now what do we do with everyone else who's come here unlawfully? Because you have a porous border and you're going to still have people coming across it, unless you actually secure it. So, especially on the conservative side, we say, secure the border. Now, what does that look like? How do you quantify and verify it? That's a far more nuanced conversation that becomes points of negotiation between Republicans and Democrats. And money to problems doesn't necessarily show an initiative and a desire to actually accomplish the mission. But border security, so we know who's coming in and who's not coming in, is imperative, number one. Number two, I think we need more visas for low skill and high skill labor. So there's not an incentive to come across the border unlawfully. If there's employment opportunities, like in a dairy farm, that aren't being met by the local population, you can get a visa and you can come. You don't have to worry about trying to risk your life and come across the border. You can do it lawfully. And if you do those two things, and there's the conversations about internal security, but then the question becomes, what do you do with those who are here without documentation and those who've committed no other crime but have come here without documentation? This is a wrinkle as well. The Democrats will say, give them citizenship, make them citizens, amnesty. On our side, we would say, offer them some form of legal status. Again, what its format would be, but let them stay, let them work, let them come out of the shadows, not have a risk and fear of deportation. I don't know on your dairy farm if you want to come on. If they've been here for a while, they probably haven't gone home since they got here. They haven't seen their parents, they haven't seen their cousins, because they can't leave. Let them go home, come back. Let them pay taxes. But if you want to become a citizen, you have to do it the lawful way, and you go to the back of the line and you apply. There's no immediate pathway to the front because you've broken the law. those who are trying to do it lawfully. I think that treats people fairly. I think it would fix the system so people can come in and meet the demands of the economy, the border secure, and those who are here working hard, we treat them fairly. That's what I think we could do. Now, and I have to say this, if you've talked to someone who's here without documentation, and you've asked them, you said, there could be a deal in the House and the Senate and the President that could give you a form of a legal status where you could stay and you could work in. You might be able to get a license, you're not going to be in fear of being deported. You can take that. Or you can take a longer, protracted fight making you a citizen. What do you want to do?
Well, and President Obama isn't proposing citizenship.
I bet most of them would say, I don't really care about citizenship.
Right.
I don't want to be deported. I want to move freely. Mm-hmm. Get a deal on a legal status for me. I've talked to them. I know a lot of them. Mm-hmm. So I think that is a deal that could be had. I know to say this one more thing. As you look at families and businesses, you work together by building relationships and trust, getting to know each other. My mom is a die-hard liberal Democrat. We still love each other. We talk and we start off conversations probably fighting, and we, at the end of a cup of coffee, we probably agree on a lot more than we disagree on. But trust and relationships in anything we do matter. He's meeting Mitch McConnell for the second time. Right now, he's going to take over the majority of the House. There's no relationships, not just with Republicans. If you ask Democrats, who will fight with us, just like we'll fight with them and we'll argue and we'll debate, they don't like him. He doesn't even talk to them. There's no relationships. And whatever you say about Reagan, Bush, and Clinton, they know how to build relationships with people. I mean, Bill Clinton was the master. Even the Republicans who tried to impeach him, you ask them, I mean, they think he's the nicest guy and smarter than all get out, because he was good at going, how do we find things we agree on? How do we work together and you can win and I can win and where's the middle road on this stuff? But it happens because we get to know each other. We have a beer together. We have a cup of coffee together. You may even have us over to the Oval Office. I begged for a meeting. Me and 4 members of Congress, we had a meeting with the 3rd string in the White House for a cup of coffee to go, hey, there's things we could get done together. I don't even get the 2nd tier. I don't even get the president. I'm willing to meet with anybody. I went over there humbling myself to go, would the interns want to talk to me about what we can get done together? Because I think there's stuff we could do. Got nowhere, but at least I'm doing my part to try to go, how do we build a relationship to do things together? So, anyway. We'll see. Well, I don't think the president's going to pass it. The Senate's not going to sign the repeal of the signature law. And I've heard people that have been helped by the Affordable Care Act as well. And I hear from a lot of people who have been significantly hurt by the Affordable Care Act. Prices going up, and the loss of life-saving doctors at Mayo because they've been transferred to another healthcare provider. Not a lot of options. So I've heard people that have been helped. I've heard people who have been hurt significantly. But all the things that we've been talking about with what the Affordable Care Act does with regard to health care and how it passed all came to light with what Mr. Gruber was saying in his videos. Confusing, the lack of transparency. The American people are too stupid to understand what they're doing with the Affordable Care Act. And frankly, all the lies that were told, all the lies that are now incorporated in the bill. And even look at the president. I mean, if you're going to sell a signature reform of healthcare, which is a 5th of your economy, and you look every American straight in the eye and say, if you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor. He knew absolutely that wasn't true. If you like your healthcare plan, you can keep your healthcare plan. Absolutely 100%. He knew that was false. That was not, we all said that's lying. That's not true. And he was going to tell you, look you right in your face and go, no, it is. That's what's going to happen. And then when you say price, we couldn't prove this, but thought it would be true. He said prices were on average for a family of 4 going to go down by $2,500 a year. prices have gone up by more than that for an average family.
Just on one tier though, right? One package.
Multiple tiers. Prices haven't gone down.
No, but I read that just the lowest, the bronze, whatever, I don't have it myself, those premiums went up, but on the other tiers, they stayed the same.
We're on the platinum and it has gone up
How much did it go up?
like $100 and some dollars.
A month? Maybe, okay.
I've heard
Deductibles too.
And yeah, deductibles have increased as well.
And it's still better than what we had. I mean, but
Yeah.
if it's gonna continue to rise, that's not gonna help either.
Yeah, that's the insurance companies.
So let's talk about insurance companies quick.
What's that?
What do you think the Affordable Care Act does to insurance companies?
I think it's a boon for the insurance companies, but that's my opinion.
You're right.
Yeah.
So when the insurance companies don't make money in the Affordable Care Act in the exchanges, they lose money. Do you think they actually lose money? No. They get bailed out. Do you know who bails them out?
Well, how would you
Oh.
feel about a single payer
No.
universal care? Why
You know
not?
what I love?
Yeah.
I would love to empower you, along with your doctor, to make your healthcare decisions. In Wisconsin, we had about 90, it varied, but 93 to 95% of our Wisconsinites covered with insurance. And of the 5 to 7% that weren't covered, you had several percent of those that were the invincibles that just didn't want coverage. You had 3%, 4% that didn't have coverage. We should have worked on finding coverage for those, 2, 3, or 4%, instead of cashing in the system that we have in place today or before Obamacare and give us something completely new and different.
Well, the pre-existing
What I want to
conditions
see,
are big.
we had to work on pre-existing conditions,
Right.
but you also had the high-risk pool in Wisconsin. But we should have had, they should all be competing across state lines, insurance and healthcare providers. We should have tort reform, get rid of junk lawsuits so we stop practicing defensive medicine. We should have price transparency so you can actually see how much services cost. And again, someone will say, well, a heart attack, you're not going to shop. That's right. If you have a heart attack, don't shop, just save my life. Car crash, don't shop, save my life. But almost all of your health care you consume, and you know you consume it. And can you necessarily find out the cost of that service? No. We don't buy anything like that. And I think that you're going to have a single payer that's going to step in between you and your healthcare provider, and you're going to get a better end product. I think we can do better empowering people to build a relationship with their doctors and work out their healthcare together. There's going to be some people that aren't going to be able to do that, and I think we should help them. I think there's some good reform in the Affordable Care Act, like pre-existing conditions, dealing with lifetime caps. Some good stuff that need to be looked at, but I don't see costs going down. So that's a big deal. So what I've tried to do is, I know the ASQ levels, what are the 112 million board feet a year, from 115 million board feet a year.
I don't know what I know there's an awful lot of land here and Pike Lake out there, they're just sitting there, trees blowing over, rotting in the woods.
So
Wheels are crying for wood and they won't turn it loose.
So we're trying to pressure them to open it back up again. And again, this is a renewable resource that, when managed well, which we've done well, offers really good paying jobs in the forest and puts wood in our mills, which makes our mills competitive. We're shipping wood via rail from Canada to our mills to fill them up because we can't get enough wood here. And there's a mentality that says we want to just, shut the forest down. It's more pristine and more beautiful if we don't log it. If you take someone from San Francisco and walk through an unmanaged 40 and a managed 40, you ask them which one looks better. Don't tell them which is which. We all know which one they're going to do, but the managed one. And if we don't log it, you're right, it blows over, it rots, becomes a fire hazard. And the Forest Service keeps saying we can't do it because there's not enough money. But they can't make money on the sale of timber. Something's wrong.
They're getting big bucks for that timber nowadays.
but they say they can't do it. There's a mentality that doesn't wanna log it. And I promise you, we're gonna keep pushing and fighting, because I think we're at the cusp of potentially losing our logging industry. And once it goes away, and it's gone away in other areas, you can't snap your fingers and get it back. The industry goes, and it goes, you know, for a very long time, if not forever. How do you rekindle the industry? It's almost impossible. So I would build a mandate that we cut the ASQ level, which we're at 60 million, 62 million board feet a year. It's at 112, so it's almost double what they're doing right now, requiring that they up it. So I'm well aware, and I'm trying to do what I can to nudge them into movement. But so it becomes a problem when, especially Douglas, Bayfield, Ashland, right, Hayward, you know, Sawyer County, or you look at St. Croix County and others along the west coast of the state. They all get Minnesota news, and they also get Minnesota football, which is a problem. And we've talked with the Energy and Commerce Committee a lot about how do you allow, at least if you want to choose Wisconsin news, because true, I thought Rudy Boschwitz was my senator forever as I lived in, because he was got Minnesota news and he just didn't get Wisconsin stuff. I have a bill that would allow you to get Packer games in Wisconsin, and you know, we'd like to have news as well with it. It becomes very problematic because Duluth does not want to lose you. They want to make sure you keep getting Duluth news and Duluth television, and Minneapolis doesn't want to lose Western Wisconsin. Their DMAs are pretty set, and they'll fight like cats and dogs to keep them. And so if you do it here, it becomes a huge fight. But it's going to be a conversation that a lot more of us are going to push, especially when you have significant portions of your state or your district that can't get local news. It's a problem. But I'll just tell you this, though I pushed my Packer bill, the committee is not that supportive of what I'm doing because they see the larger fight that they'd have to engage in. So there's a lot more work that has to happen before we get both sides to come in and fight big, you know, fight Minneapolis and fight Duluth. Because hey, let us get more Wisconsin news.